The call drops before she can say goodbye. Not sharply, not like something snapped, just silence arriving early. She keeps the phone against her ear longer than makes sense. Long enough that her hand starts to warm the glass. Long enough that the moment begins to feel negotiable. It isn't. The hallway smells like disinfectant layered over something that never fully leaves. The lights hum, uneven, as if they were installed by different hands who never compared notes. She shifts the folder under her arm. The corner bends. She straightens it carefully. Paper shows stress before people do. A nurse walks past without looking at her, then passes again 10 minutes later, still not looking. A man further down the hall coughs in a way that sounds practiced. Someone laughs too loudly and stops halfway through, as if corrected by the room. She checks the screen. No missed call, no voicemail. She knows better than to call back immediately. She learned that months ago. Timing matters here, even when no one explains why. She sits. The chair is bolted to the floor. Everything in this place is fixed except the people waiting. The floor reflects light unevenly, polished only where footsteps repeat. Across from her, a man stares at the vending machine like it owes him something personal. He presses a button. Nothing happens. He presses it again anyway. Nothing here is designed for waiting, and yet waiting is all it produces. She opens the folder. Approved. Pending final review. She's read that sentence so many times it no longer sounds like language. Just shape, just ink. Pending has carried her through conversations, through planning, through quiet reassurance she's given to other people. Feels lighter now, less reliable. If this feels familiar, you'll want to stay. The review was described as procedural. That word did a lot of work early on. Procedural meant predictable, neutral, safe. The first meeting still lives clearly in her mind. The room too bright, the table too long. Everyone introduced themselves by title instead of name. Someone smiled and said this wouldn't take long. Long enough, it turns out, to reorganize a life around a possibility. At first, progress made noise. Emails arrived. Forms were acknowledged. She learned the rhythm, what silence meant when it was normal and when it wasn't. Then the rhythm changed. Not stopped. Adjusted. Files advanced one step, paused, then advanced again like something unseen was testing whether she'd notice. She called once. Careful. Polite. She was told everything was on track. She called again a week later. Same message. Slightly different wording. By the third call, she stopped asking what on track meant. Her phone buzzes now. A message. Can you come back tomorrow? No apology. No explanation. Just a request shaped like an assumption. She types a response. Deletes it. Types another. Deletes that too. Finally sends something neutral enough to disappear into the system without friction. Tomorrow works. Doesn't. But the system doesn't need to know that. When she stands, her legs feel unfamiliar, like they've been folded the wrong way for too long. The vending machine finally lights up. The man doesn't notice. Outside, the light is wrong for the time of day. Clouds thick enough to flatten everything. The street sounds muted, like the city is careful not to interrupt itself. At home, she lays the papers out on the table. Straight lines, even spacing, control where she can find it. She notices something new, a date that doesn't align, a signature scanned instead of signed, small enough to ignore, almost nothing. She checks older copies. The difference is subtle, but it's there. A revision she was never told about. She wonders when it happened, who saw it first, who decided it didn't need to be mentioned. That night, she sleeps badly, not from fear, from replay, from running conversations backward, searching for the moment where something shifted without being announced. Weeks pass. She learns new words, new phrases that all mean delay without saying it. Assessment, alignment, secondary review. She hears them often enough that they begin to feel personal. The building starts greeting her by routine. Security nods. The desk clerk hands her badges without comment. Familiarity begins to masquerade as safety. They move her to a different room eventually. Smaller, no windows. The man across from her speaks carefully, too carefully, each sentence padded, rounded, designed to absorb reaction. He tells her there's been a development, not a problem, a development. He explains that criteria have shifted, that guidelines evolve, that no one could have anticipated this specific combination of factors. She listens without interrupting. Interruptions get remembered. She asks one question. Which part changed? He hesitates. Not long. Just long enough. Then he answers something adjacent. That's when she understands. Not everything. Enough. The system didn't fail her. It reclassified her. She leaves with the same folder she arrived with, except it feels heavier now, like it absorbed something from the room. Time stretches after that. Updates arrive irregularly. Each one suggests motion without offering direction. Progress is implied. Resolution is not. She learns how difficult it is to explain what's happening without sounding unreasonable. Friends reassure her. Family suggests appeals. Someone mentions a workaround they heard about secondhand. No one sees the line she crossed without being told it exists. She considers pushing harder, writing letters, escalating. She imagines how it would look summarized later, how tone gets flattened into record. She waits instead. Waiting teaches restraint. It teaches which questions cost too much, which versions of yourself are easiest to process. Months turn into markers rather than measurements. Before, after, not yet. The language changes before the outcome does. Pending becomes under consideration. Under consideration becomes finalized review. Each phrase feels heavier than the last. Then, one afternoon, a message arrives that closes something. Not decisively, administratively. She reads it once, then again. The words are polite, precise, impossible to argue with without sounding emotional. She doesn't cry. She files the papers away, not because she's finished, because she no longer knows where they belong. Years later, she'll hear about others, people who never made it as far as she did. Files that disappeared earlier, calls that never came at all. She'll think about the moment the line went dead, the silence afterward, how she held the phone like it might correct itself. Nothing broke. It just stopped moving in her direction, and the system continued, unchanged, efficient, intact. If this stayed with you, you can leave a thought. We tell stories like this here,